It's not like we make this a secret. It puts a big question mark on the idea of retire abroad. They come down here, they waste their money bringing their container, then they pay again to ship it back. You know, the average term of stay is 2 or 3 years. It's well documented. So who's really retiring abroad? What they're really doing is they're living abroad for a while. Very few really, quote-unquote, retire abroad. So I was looking at some things this morning, and it turns out that ever since Portugal started promoting exemptions and opening certain doors for people that are well off with money to invest in property and such, about 8 years ago, ever since then, and the RAM magazines, coincidentally or not coincidentally, started pumping the place too at the same time. There's twice as many foreigners, word has it, and this is in the hundreds of thousands, not like 5,000. So there's 200,000 more foreigners, which is double what there was before since the program and the RAM pumping. In case anybody was wondering, how could a few foreigners make any difference?
Well, Frank and I are on a bus in Mexico. We're taking a little trip.
It's been a while, hasn't it?
So yeah, it's been a while, hasn't it? Mm-hmm. We haven't traveled in a while, so finally we're going to travel a little bit.
This brings back memories of travel.
When we were in Ecuador. Yeah.
No bad. What if I throw some of it out? It has to be in a smaller container.
Perú y Argentina, entre otros países, por más de un año ya.
Mira aquí.
Calle.
La calle es Jardines de Medici. To me, well, if you look at the statistics, we've talked about this. Nobody, and I use the word nobody loosely, because if 98% of the people don't retire abroad, then you can say nobody retires abroad, even if 1 or 2 people, or 1 or 2% retire abroad. Because what does retire abroad mean? A lot of people come down here, and we've made articles, we've written articles on our Discover Cuenca Ecuador blog. We're just trying to tell people. They come down here, they waste their money bringing their container, then they pay again to ship it back. You know, the average term of stay is 2 or 3 years. It's well documented. So who's really retiring abroad? What they're really doing is they're living abroad for a while. Very few really, quote-unquote, retire abroad. If you exclude those that do travel abroad, visit abroad, even though they become residents for maybe a handful of years and then pass away, if you exclude those, because you really can't include them, because they very well, if they would have, you know, moved back. So the whole idea is just, to me, it's just a farce. It's one of those. I'm not saying don't travel abroad, and I'm not saying don't retire abroad. I'm just saying the publications that put out this idea have a very dismal track record as far as fulfillment of this ideal.
Okay, going abroad because you think the grass is going to be greener. Wow, this one's
The grass,
really deep.
It's a cliche, you know, but they're cliches for a reason, because there's a lot of truth behind it, and it has to do with just the glossy postcard versions that there's a tendency to get on the internet, and unfortunately industries that go at great lengths to paint this postcard for you and to suppress other aspects of living abroad that you would want to know.
That's
Well, the
right.
grass being greener is a sort of expectation.
Yes, that's true.
And so beyond just grass being greener expectation, I guess we're saying don't have any expectations.
Well, like people go abroad thinking, oh, it's going to be cheaper, I'm going to be able to save all this money, but then they go abroad and they find out the food costs more there than where they came from. And
one of those wrong reasons that I talk about is that they come here based on price. And that might sound a little confusing based on the fact that we're always talking about price, but let me be clear and let me explain. People focus on what the RAM magazines love to promote and use in their marketing, and that is that you can live so great on so little. And if that's the only reason that you're drawn to coming to a developing country, you know, they usually don't put come to a developing country and live on $600 a month or $900. They say come to paradise. That's how they woo people.
you know,
Food costs are way higher in Panama City than they ever were in the States for us.
that's just an example.
Food costs were going up every single year that the expat bubble was on in Cuenca, Ecuador. The food costs were going on slowly, but they were going up. Eventually they just reach U.S. prices. A lot of people end up leaving because they came for the wrong reasons. They were enticed into coming for the wrong reasons. And then after they're through with the honeymoon phase and retiring abroad, they don't understand, they don't think it through, or they're just looking at one thing, you know, one aspect of it. But a lot of people realize later that they miss their family and they don't really want to be, you know, out here alone and stuff. Everything's so different. Everybody's so different. People are different. Everything's different. So. When you leave for these kind of deeper reasons, I would think that you're more apt to make a more solid decision. And I think that when people leave for other reasons, like the kind of reasons that people are enticed into leaving for, like, you know what I'm talking about, the major retirement magazines, the ones that make it sound all glowing, and, you know, you're going to have people at your beck and call waiting on you hand and foot, you know, on $1,000 a month to live on the beach, you know, everything's rosy and beautiful, and you're in paradise. These are the people that are, at first they're gonna feel like that's what, eventually they're gonna see through that, and then they end up leaving. And you know, like you look at us, I mean, you know, we brought our family, so retiring abroad, they don't understand, they don't think it through, or they're just looking at one thing, you know, one aspect of it. But a lot of people realize later that they miss their family and they don't really want to be, you know, out here alone and stuff. Everything's so different. Everybody's so different. People are different. Everything's different. So. You know, when 90% or more of the people don't really retire abroad, they just do what they do. So
The intention is to retire abroad.
well, I think the seed of the intention is planted. I think it's planted by these Pied Pipers that publish this daydream